Good morning, friends. I'm Chris from Worthington Home. I'm headed to Massachusetts to visit my aunt and then my brother, and I'm hoping to do some thrifting along the way. So let's see how we do. This is going to be about a 2-hour drive, which isn't too bad, and it's a very straight shot, so easy driving. Our first stop is going to be Danvers. There's a lot of furniture here today, as you can see. I'm just checking out some of these pieces, including this glass table, which is really nice. This is $24.99. This is an interesting piece. I guess you would maybe put a plant in this. I'm not sure. I really like the pink flowers. No back stamp and no price on this. These lampshades have an interesting look, and I'm so wondering if they would fit the pair of lamps I thrifted a while back. $1.99 each is an awesome price, so I'm thinking about it, but it's so hard to know if shades will fit or look right on a lamp if you don't have the lamp with you. This is a nice pair of brass lamps, and I like the shades on these as well. They want $11.99 for each one. This is a pretty Christmas tree decor item. It looks kind of like mercury glass. $14.99 for this. Oh, the top comes off. I didn't see that coming. I'm getting a better look at this tall vase with the gold details for $12.99. Unfortunately, the rim is pretty damaged on this piece, but I do really like the base. This is a very pretty tureen. I've seen this before. $14.99 for this. These lamps are really interesting, and they're making me think of Eric because he enjoys home decor with eagles on it. These have a very bicentennial look for $19.99 each. I think they were perfect in somebody's 1970s house. This is a really interesting wooden bowl with the house. It kind of has a primitive look about it. It's signed in the back. It's coming up blurry. $5.99 for this. And then we have this interesting bowl with the pineapple design, but I'm a little confused because the price tag in the front says $2.99, but when I turn this piece over on the back it says $11.99, so I'm not sure which it is. These glasses are so pretty. I like the hand-painted details and especially the butterflies on these. The leaves remind me of Port Marion, $2.99 each, and the bottom has a sticker that says Made in China. This is an interesting wooden box, and I like the kind of brassy toned hardware trim on this. $7.99 for this box. I'm seeing a lot of scratching and condition issues. I don't love the inside, the color especially. I wonder if this was like for cigar storage. Not sure. This is a lovely platter at $8.99. I just can't pick it up to resell, but it is a nice piece and it was made in England. These are interesting. I don't know why they have a blue X on them. I think that has to do with the pricing strategy somehow. And I can't quite make out the back stamp, but they are very pretty. There's two of them here. I'll just put that back. I just noticed this decorative plate. I like the barn and the pumpkins. This is $9.99. It has a very heavy, solid feel to it. I like this cross-stitch piece, but I think with the number 50 on it, it's going to be just too specific to sell very well. $2.99 is a really good price for this, but I'm going to leave it behind. This is a great cookie tin. I like it when they have the double handles on them. This one is $4.99. I like it, but I think I'm going to leave it. Okay, that was fun. I am gonna head back out to the car. It is so cold out here. Let's get inside. I'm headed to Savers. It's in the same town. I had to pop back on the highway, but it's only about 5 minutes or so away. Not bad. I want to get a better look at this turkey. It's so interesting. It comes apart so you could hold something in there. Looks like a little craft pottery piece. Somebody signed the bottom. It's very interesting. Here we have a tray for $7.99, but it's in really bad condition. Too bad. I like these Mikasa soup bowls. This is a very pretty pattern. If it was $4.99 for the stack, I would do it, but these are $4.99 each. This is a very pretty bowl for $3.99, which is a price I can live with. And this is Johnson Brothers. So I think this is gonna go in the cart while I think about it, but this is my first potential purchase of the day. Geesh, this has been a rough trip. And this is really cute for $2.99. I like the windmill. This is Nippon, and it has some discoloration, but I think it's just dirt. This is a beautiful plate. Love the flowers on this. There's 2 of these. They look like Limoges, but these were made in Bavaria, $1.99 each. I like this platter, but unfortunately it has a little chip and I don't want a sad friend. These glasses are such a great color. $3.49 each is definitely more than I'm gonna pay even for myself, but I do like them. This poor bowl has a big crack in it, and that's too bad because it is really pretty. $4.99, ooh, and a chip too, poor thing. Let's see what we have under here. There's this divided tray for $5.99. It's kind of interesting with the vegetables, but yeah, that crazing is really severe. So I don't think so. I like this pretty floral pattern. It's $7.99. This is made by Noritake and it's the Bristol pattern. Very pretty. And I have this Caesar salad bowl. Mine is green and it really comes in handy. This is lovely. This looks like Limoges. And it's $6. Looks like $6.99 and it is Limoges. This is really pretty. I'm gonna think about this, I think. And there is a gravy boat right next to it. It seems like it's in nice condition. Yep, definitely same maker. $5.99 for the gravy boat. I like this tray, but there's a lot of scratches in the center design. $5.99 for this. I wish it were in better condition because then it would definitely tempt me. Here we have another tray I want to get a better look at. This has an interesting fruit theme and it is $5.99. These are so pretty. This is from the same Limoges set I saw before. $2.99 per piece is too much for me to pay for resale, which is too bad because I really like this pattern a lot. And there are quite a few pieces here. This is such a pretty hall teapot. I've seen this before, but it's missing its lid, which is a shame. This bell is kind of interesting. $6.99 for this. It seems like it's got some kind of liquid in it. I see. This was made by Avon, so I bet this is like cologne or perfume or something. Very interesting. I really like this camel wall art. It's actually very large, and I think actually too large for me to put in my booth. I think it would just get lost in the mix. Oh my gosh, this brings me right back to my childhood. I had this Fisher-Price playhouse when I was a kid. Unfortunately, this one's not in great shape. You can see a lot of the paper has peeled off the exterior, but you can still get a sense of how much fun it was back in the day. Let's take a peek inside at some of these rooms. Oh my gosh, did you have this when you were a kid or did you know somebody who did? Is this bringing back some fun memories for you? If it is, be sure to leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. Oh, well, for now, I'm going to put this piece away. I would buy it if it was in better shape, but it was fun just to see it. Time to hit the road. I'm about 10 to 15 minutes away from my aunt and uncle's house, so not far to go now. So I got home from my Massachusetts adventures yesterday, and I ended up finding a few things. It was such a mixed bag, but I'm going to focus on day one for the purposes of this video. So as I already explained, I was headed up to Wenham, Massachusetts to visit my aunt and uncle. They've lived up there for over 50 years. They have such a beautiful house, and they had invited me to come on by and have lunch and do a little antiquing. So I figured let's get there early and see if I could pop into just one or two thrift stores on my way up. So it seemed to make sense based on my map to try out a few stores in Danvers, Massachusetts. So nothing exciting. I figured let's check out Goodwill. And then there was the Savers not too far from there. Now, I'm sure there are other smaller thrift stores that could be interesting, but the thing about Goodwill and Savers is that they have very predictable hours, and I knew it wouldn't take me too long to go through there. And I'm also, if I'm honest, always a little bit curious about whether those kinds of chain thrift stores will vary from one state to the next. So, I do a little investigative work. How is it the same? How is it different? Is it different? I figured I would check it out. So long story short, I couldn't believe how awful the Goodwill was. And their prices were so high that you could probably get the same stuff going to like Target or something and have a much more positive experience. But I figured Savers is not far. Let's see if it's any better. Well, I would say Savers was much smaller than the Savers around me. It was in a strip mall. I was surprised by the size of it. Just as crowded as any of the Savers I go to in Connecticut. And they did have, I'd say they had better stuff. They had more stuff. Their prices were still pretty high, but definitely not as high as Goodwill. So I was able to pick up a couple of things at Savers. Nothing earth-shattering. However, I found this really cute plate. And I love things with windmills on them. And this is a little blue and white dish. Now, I don't usually pick up a singleton plate, but I loved the windmill and the colors on this plate. So this plate was $2.99, and it was made by Nippon. So this must be a little bit on the older side. I'm gonna have to research when Nippon ceased to be. But given the detail, I thought it would be fun and definitely a fun little souvenir of my thrifting excursion. This seemed like a good time to talk a little bit about the history of Nippon, which can also be pronounced Nippon, according to my research. I'm going to stick with Nippon for now. Nippon porcelain refers to vases, teapots, plates, cups and saucers, and other beautiful ceramic objects stamped with the word Nippon on the underside. Nippon first appeared in 1891 as a direct result of the McKinley Tariff Act. It required countries to mark their names in English on products imported to the U.S. Nippon was how the Japanese referred to their country, so this was the name they printed on their goods. Nippon porcelain was specially made to be exported from Japan to the West with designs and patterns that would appeal to Western consumers, using the same methods employed in Europe and the U.S. The Japanese items were less expensive than those made in Western countries, and as a result, they became very popular with American buyers. Nippon porcelain was commonly found in gift shops, dime stores, fairs, and even at grocery markets. You could also buy it from mail order houses and department stores. Notably, some of the Japanese potters of the Nippon era included those working at the company that became Noritake. They were influenced by the work of Limoges, Balique, and R.S. Prussia. Their wares were often hand-painted in a more elaborate manner than the prevalent Japanese taste of the day, which tended to be simpler and more streamlined. Common imagery included flowers, animals, and beautiful nature scenes. Tapestry decorations were also popular. Nippon is often categorized as the early and late periods. Early Nippon was handmade by groups or families, and the resulting products were more individual in nature. Late Nippon was the result of mass production, and so results were more uniform. In 1921, the U.S. government declared that Japanese imports had to be clearly marked as Japan instead of Nippon. So from then on, imported Japanese china was stamped as Japan. So if you find a piece of Nippon porcelain, you can confidently date it as being made sometime between 1891 and 1921, which also means it's antique. According to Dr. Lori, and I know there are a lot of Dr. Lori fans out there, myself included, the value of Nippon pieces varies widely based on things like quality, size, type, condition of the decoration, and other elements. I don't come across it very often on my thrifting adventures, but it can be found on eBay, Etsy, flea markets, antique stores, and estate sales. Who knows? You might even find a piece of Nippon porcelain at your local Savers store. Stranger things have happened. I also picked up this really pretty Johnson Brothers bowl. I loved the pattern on this bowl. I thought it was very sweet and kind of old-fashioned. This is Johnson Brothers, made in England. It doesn't say what the pattern is. I'm sure I can research it. But again, I thought this was really pretty, and I think this is the kind of bowl that you don't have to have the full set to be able to use it and appreciate it. So I picked it up. I picked up some Limoges, and I love Limoges. If you watch this channel, you know I'm obsessed with Limoges, and that's my Limoges cabinet behind me, full of it. And I do love it, but it tends to be a slowish seller. The plates, if I have stacks of plates, those will move. Teacups and saucers don't move an inch if they're like a set. And other serving pieces do sell, but not fast. However, I thought this was such a beauty. I was willing to take a chance on it. I love the pattern on this. I love the gold handle and the top. I thought it was really pretty. I don't know if you can see this very well, but that's the back stamp. And this was, how much was this? $6.99, so not a great price, but a pretty piece. And I found this little gravy boat with an attached underplate that goes with it. Here is a better look at the back stamp, because it's not as hidden as it was on the covered dish. I don't think that was a tureen. I think that was like a covered vegetable kind of deal. This was $5.99. Again, not a screaming deal, but isn't that so pretty? And I did want to just bring home something that I could say, hey, I went to Massachusetts, I went thrifting, I found some things. I think that when the underplate is attached, it's a sign that it's not a very old piece. I could be mistaken, but I don't think I am. So I'll have to do a little more research. I always find Limoges is particularly hard to research because so much of it was made by so many different companies. But I thought they were really pretty, so worth picking up. I found 2 pillows. I paid more for them than I should have, but I really like them and they are in excellent condition. They're both exactly the same, and I love the trim work on this. I think that's really nice. I love the pattern. I am suspecting that these were made by Country Curtains because I had valances in this exact pattern a few houses ago in what was Zach's playroom. So I really think that's what this is. Here's the other one in case you're curious. But I thought they were really beautiful, in really nice shape, as I said. They were $4.49 each. So not a steal, but I'm hoping someone will be happy to find them and I can make at least a little profit on them. And if I can't, I can always keep them. So the last thing I found, I thought was pretty good. I am gonna put it away though until the season is right. But I found this collection of 6 placemats. Let me see if I can show you these in more detail. Here we go. These are very strongly autumnal, as you can see. but I thought they had a great look and I thought they would be really fun to bring out maybe even as early as September. I think that might make sense, so that hopefully somebody can use these in their home decor as they're getting ready for all of the fun fall holidays. So I grabbed these. These were $2.99 for the stack. I almost questioned if that was a mistake because it seemed much less expensive than everything else that I found that day. But if it was a mistake, it worked in my favor, and let's not look a gift horse in the mouth. Am I right? After my thrifting adventures, I went to my aunt and uncle's house. They have such a beautiful colonial. I'm only showing you footage from the back because the front is a really busy street. I would have had to cross the busy street to get a good shot of the house, and it was just too crazy to do that. But at least you can get a look at the back. So let me show you just a couple of pictures. Here's the back of the house. It usually looks much prettier than this, but in the winter time, one does one's best. This house, I believe, was built around 1800. And here's the barn in the back. It looks a little bit small in this picture, but it's actually 2 stories. And when we were kids, we loved to come up here and play on the second floor. So it's a really great space. My aunt had this beautiful little painting of my grandfather's house in Norway. So he was born to Norwegian parents who immigrated to America, but his mother went home right before the outbreak of World War I to visit family, and she ended up getting stranded there because of the war. So my grandfather was actually born in Norway, the only one of his siblings to be born there. So this is a really sweet keepsake, and I was glad to at least get a picture of it. I thought this was so interesting. This is actually one of a set of 2 wooden pieces hanging in the mudroom of my aunt and uncle's house. It's very old. It has a great look. I tried to guess what this was, and I was incorrect. Do you have any idea? If you do, leave me a comment. Spoiler alert, I'm going to tell you what it is now. This is one of a pair of mud shoes. You would put this on the bottom of your shoe and it would allow you to safely traverse the muddy, yucky terrain. I think it's very ingenious. What do you think? I can also tell you my aunt and uncle's house is beautiful inside. They have all kinds of fabulous antiques. Their house is so old and interesting. My aunt has a fabulous Port Marion collection. I didn't take pictures because I didn't want to attend so much to videos and photos that I wasn't actually spending time with them. They're in their 80s. I hadn't seen them in a really long time, and I felt like it was more important to just be in the moment. And so I think that was a good choice. Much as I wish I could share pictures, maybe next time I'll take some. Afterwards, we went out to lunch. We had a really nice meal. And then we tried to go antiquing, but a lot of stores were closed. I guess, just seasonally, some of these stores wait until tourist season starts back up. It's been so cold and dark. Who can blame them? We did go to one antique store that was fun to look through. I didn't buy anything, but I would definitely go back to it. And now that I know my aunt and uncle's house is only about 2 hours away, I'll definitely go back again. They used to come here a lot because their oldest child lives here. But I think as the grandchildren have moved on and gone to college and all the things, they just don't come around as often. But that doesn't mean I can't go to them, right? While I was at my aunt and uncle's house, my aunt gave me something that was a project that my grandmother had started. So she had been working on this very beautiful cross-stitch wreath. I guess this is Danish. So this was made in Copenhagen, or this pattern was originated in Copenhagen. And my grandmother had started it, but then she was sick at the time and never finished it, unfortunately. But my aunt had kept all of the thread and all of the various pieces of the project, and she asked me if I wanted to take it. Now, I can do cross stitch. This particular pattern looks pretty involved, so I'm not sure if I'm just too rusty to make that work. But I appreciated that she gave it to me. I'll show you. I don't know if anybody here does cross stitch, but this is the pattern. So it's definitely on the small and elaborate side. I would love the idea of finishing this piece that my grandmother started, so maybe I'll do it at some point. We'll see. I used to love doing stuff like this, and of course my grandmother had taught me, so will I finish this? We shall see. My aunt doesn't want it back, by the way. She had said if I finish it, keep it, and it can be a little reminder of my grandmother's project. I have lots of her cross stitch. In fact, I think we should go look at some. Let's check it out. Right now, we're headed up the second floor staircase to the third floor. And I have lots of her handiwork showcased up here in a big gallery wall, including this gorgeous lace piece. This is the first cross stitch I did after she showed me how. It is not centered. I was just learning. And I made this piece as well, but she made this fabulous house. And she made, oh, everything's a little crooked. She made this very pretty Hummel and this lovely little Amish buggy scene and the top to this mirror and these beautiful birds. And this schoolhouse, this was actually inspired by the school my mother and aunt went to in New Haven, Connecticut. I made this elaborate guy. This was a lot of work, and you can see I pulled my stitches too tight because you see how the back is puckered. It's because somebody, yours truly, was a little too intense with the old needle and thread. And then she made this beautiful, again, kind of Amish themed top to the mirror. And this mirror is beautiful. This used to be in my mother's house, so I like having it here. So yeah, this whole wall is inspired by her handiwork. And then mine, but of course, as I said, mine was taught to me by her, so kind of same. This isn't all of the needlework I have that my grandmother did, but this is kind of the biggest assortment of it. I do still have a few pieces in storage because we ran out of room for showcasing it on this wall. I got as much up here as I could, and I love seeing it all in one place. It really makes me happy. Now, my aunt and uncle have many pieces that my grandmother did. My brothers do, my cousins do. I have lots of Christmas themed stuff that she made. So there's little reminders of her everywhere, and I can't tell you how much I enjoy seeing it every day. I just came downstairs and found these two cutie pies hanging out on the cat tower. They love this thing. They have done a number on this piece. I bought this on Amazon. It was a pretty good price. And when they were little, they were always up here. They love to sit up here and look out the window and watch the birds and things go by. But it always cracks me up when they sit up here at the same time now that they're both so big. You can see the two of them together don't quite fit. They're so cute and so cuddly. So anyway, I thought you might enjoy a little fur baby update because I thought this was really too good not to share. After my visit with my aunt and uncle, ooh, cat, oof, we don't want him tripping on the Limoges. After I saw my aunt and uncle, I drove all the way across the state to Charlemont, Massachusetts. That's where my brother and his girlfriend live, and they own a tap room there. They own a brewery in Vermont as well, but Charlemont is a definitely much closer drive, so that's where I went. I had a great time with them, and then I went thrifting the next day, and I will show you that video coming up next. So stay tuned for that. While I'm home, Eric is enjoying Daytona 500 in Florida. Doesn't this look so fabulous? He's always wanted to go in person, and he never really had a chance to do it until this weekend. And he's got great weather for it, and I hope he is having a blast. Meanwhile, back in Connecticut, it's just starting to snow. I've been waiting for this storm to get started for a few hours, actually. It's late afternoon right now, and it's starting to cover the ground a little bit. I always like this phase of a snowstorm when the snow has just gotten started and it doesn't look muddy or slushy yet, just looks kind of peaceful and back in time. So I'd rather be in Florida, but if I have to be here, at least it's pretty. It's the next day, and our snow has turned to rain, which has created a combination of snow, slush, and ice, which is disgusting. And it just occurred to me that I better start to shovel off some of this stuff because I'm afraid it's going to freeze solid. So shoveling and snow blowing is usually Eric's domain. I'm going to do my best with what I can do myself here today. What a cold and rainy and yucky day it is outside. I'm gonna see if I can at least make this a little bit better. Wish me luck. My car's been defrosting for the last 15 minutes, and so I can break off these ice sheets with my bare hands. It's very gratifying. So I'm just gonna clean off my car so it's not so unpleasant to do tomorrow morning when I wanna leave the house. It's good to get all of this ice off of it. Meanwhile, back at Daytona 500, it's the halftime show. Is that what you call a racing show, or is that a football thing? I don't really know. Tom Cruise is here, and so is President Trump. So Eric is in good company and continuing to enjoy himself. As for me, I'm trying to deal with water in the basement. This is another one of those chores that are usually Eric's chores, but it's falling to me because I'm alone in the house. Yeah, there's quite a bit of water all over the place. This happens when we get a lot of rain, and in this case, we have rain and snow melt, which together is not my friend. This yellow little doohickey drains the water, so it's at a low point in the basement, and I have to keep pushing the water towards it so it all sucks up. The whole thing is not a good time, not gonna lie to you, but I guess it's better than pulling out a mop and bucket, so I guess I shouldn't complain. Eric just sent me this picture of this glorious palm tree. He has quite a view. I do imagine that it's wonderful to be in Florida right now while it's winter in New England. So for all of my Florida friends out there, please enjoy every second of it on behalf of your friends in cold climates. I'm back upstairs and Licorice is happy to see me. I think actually she and Wilson need to go outside. I don't think they're going to enjoy the snow too much. Here's the big guy. Usually when you see him, he's sleeping, but he does sometimes get up and dance around the house. So let's let these guys out. I think they're ready for their bathroom break and then for a little bit of dinner. Licorice is out like a shot as usual. Wilson takes a little bit more coaxing to get down the dog ramp. This ramp is built for his benefit, but he still doesn't always like to use it. There he goes. I always encourage him to take his time. He'll get down there when he can. This ramp has been such a great addition to our house. Eric did a great job. It's not beautiful looking, but it's extremely functional. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this thrifting video and my haul. I hope you enjoyed some of the other bits and pieces we covered in this video as well. If you liked this video, it would mean so much to me if you would hit like. Better yet, leave me a comment because it's so much fun to hear from you. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I hope you have a fabulous day. See you next time. Bye for now.